It's the Extremist movie debate. And tonight, we're talking 2017's It.
I'm Joe.
I'm Ethan, and one of us is going to love it, one of us is going to hate it.
Let the coin decide their fate.
I hate it.
I love it. Hey guys, don't pull us into a sewer. There's spoilers ahead. Probably.
All right, and I'm going to apologize in advance. I am under the weather, so my voice is a little wonky.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, yeah, of course. This movie holds an 86% on RottenTomatoes.com. Ethan, since you hate this movie, this first question comes to you. Joe, you're going to love this. This comes from James James Bardinelli from RealViews.net. James says, although the story is mostly faithful to the novel, the screenwriters have made some deviations in the adaptation process. Aspects of the ending have been reworked to be more thematically coherent, and several controversial elements have been removed. The result is a strong narrative that doesn't fragment at the end. So my question for you is, how do you feel about these screenwriters taking liberties in rewriting a story that's already been made? You have 1 minute.
What he's doing is churching it up real hard. What they took out was a gangbang and a space turtle. And so that is what the movie should have ended with. I think that we can all agree is, underage sex orgy and it being some sort of mysterious space creature that's arch nemesis is a turtle. Am I right?
You are correct.
Oh, thank you. So that's what we're missing out of this book. They can say that it's a little bit more cohesive, that maybe it's a little less controversial, but I think that what we want is controversy. Where this movie succeeds at all is some adult elements, and I think we need to go full adult elements in it, and otherwise you just end up with another Annabelle.
Okay, Joe, you have 30 seconds to respond.
The movie's all about coming of age and growing up and maturing and becoming a young adult, not an adult. So I don't think you need to put in a gangbang scene just because it's in the book. And secondly, every single adaptation does this. They change little nuances to make things more cohesive and make things, because it's a visual medium. It's not the written word, of course. So it's a different medium. So they have to change things to make it more palpable for the viewing audience.
Okay, Ethan, you have 15 seconds to respond.
Look, it's not like the book has, jump scares written into it, so this movie is already adding things that are for the worse. If you're going to change things for the better, not for the worse. Don't take out the gangbang.
Okay, Joe, you have a final 15 to respond.
Yeah, the jump scares, they were there, but they all paid off. It wasn't just an empty closet most of the time. So they actually had a point to it. And as far as the gangbang, that's a little too far in my opinion. I don't think you necessarily throw it in the next one, I guess.
Okay,
why was it in the book?
All right, I'll cut you guys off there. Joe, this next question is for you. This comes from Tom Schoen, a name I can pronounce, from Sunday Times UK.
I think it's actually pronounced Sean.
Shone. Tommy says, Muschietti's movie feels proficient, but purposeless. An amiable enough mixture of 1980s nostalgia, adolescent empowerment, and R-rated frights that, for all their crunch, never quite put the shiver in your bones. So my question for you is, in this day and age, we have so many horror films coming out. We have the Annabelles, the Conjurings, those are related movies, though. Yeah, the Insidious films, with the
Final Destination.
Final Destination.
That was in 1999.
Part 5.
The Happy Death Day that is coming out. The Unfriendeds. So where do you think this film stands?
Or Friend Request next week.
So where do you think this film stands in terms of a modern day horror film? You have 1 minute.
I think it stands the test of time, or not necessarily test of time, but I think it a
3-day test of time.
It's the cream that has risen above all the other corns, and the reason why is because this movie isn't just about a killer clown. This movie is like I was saying before, it's a coming of age movie. So this movie has more in common with Stand By Me than it does with Annabelle or any of the movies you just spoke of, and I think that's the key right there. Is the nugget and the truth of this movie and like the themes of this movie it's not just trying to scare people. It's actually showing these kids growing up and going into young adulthood and actually becoming the mature adults that they will eventually become in the next movie 27 years from now. And this is like the seed that has been set. And I think that's what is setting this movie and elevating this movie above the rest, is because it actually has a point of showing kids growing up, and it's showing a very human story with a killer clown.
Okay, thank you, Ethan. You have 30
No orgy.
Yeah, it's a gangbang. Ethan, you have 30 seconds to respond.
Look, nobody's going to this movie wanting to see, you know what, I hope that I learn in this movie that bullies are bad. What this movie is a shitty horror movie. It just has an hour of junk added into it to make it seem like it's a little bit above that level. So really, it is just a bunch of jump scares, and it's a scary demon hiding in corners and dark places who's going to jump out and grab you. And this movie needs to accept what it is. It does fit well in with all the other movies because it has all of that schlock. It's just added so much that it's even worse. If you like those movies at all,
Ethan, I have to cut you
go
off
see
there.
those
I'm
movies
sorry.
instead of
Ethan,
this.
please stop talking. Joe, you have 15 seconds to respond.
On top of that, I think Bill Skarsgård does such a good job at
Who?
Pennywise, which is actually a it's like an iconic role that Tim Curry had done, and this guy takes it and he makes it his own, and he actually has elevated that character, and he made that character
All
better
right,
than the
Joe,
original.
I have to cut you off there. Ethan, you have a final 15 to respond.
Who?
He got to be all spooky. Great, good for him. Just like
Who?
Tim Curry got to be all spooky.
Who?
Joe, stop interrupting.
It's essentially you play the Joker. You just get good lighting. Great, wonderful. So this movie is still just a bunch of jump scares, except that you also get elements of Stand By Me, which amounts to
All right,
absolutely
Ethan,
nothing
I'm sorry,
for
I
the
have to
audience
stop
to
you
grasp.
there. And you guys have 4 minutes to discuss and go.
And all of those parts are actually peppered in with CG everywhere. And so if you want to fit in,
That's right. Yeah. So you were trying to say that there's too much CG in this movie, and that's why it does not fit in with the other new movies.
no, yeah, it does. It fits in really well with these movies. You're the one saying it doesn't fit in with this movie. What I'm saying is this movie tries to think that it's better than these movies, but in fact, it's not better than these movies.
The reason it's better than the movies isn't because it has a bunch of CG. It's because of all the nonsense that you said. The hour of character development and like caring about what these kids are doing.
It's not character development when you go in there thinking, oh no, bullies are bad.
Transcending it above it. No, it's a movie built around fear. All of these kids fear different things. And like Bev's monster is her father. So Bev is not afraid of the clown because that's not the monster she's afraid of. And that's what like really tips the scales in the kids' favor, is like that's when they realize that the clown is feeding off of fear because Bev is not afraid of it because her demon is her own father who she had stood up to. And you see that character growth of her being like kind of cool and like trying to like mask her insecurities and mask her fear with like this air of like coolness. And then you see her family life and you kind of see her come all the way around, and at the end she's a cool cucumber, but it's because she's faced her fears and she stood up to them. You got nothing?
No,
I'm
waiting for you to finish your speech.
Oh no, I'm not. Okay, and then you got Richie. Richie is just like you and me.
Which one's
actually.
Richie?
He's the dude
They
with
have
the
names?
glasses.
It was Corey Feldman Light.
Okay. And you were just talking about young Amy Adams?
I was talking about young
all
Amy
right.
Adams, and you see that character growth. That she has this facade of coolness, and then that's broken down when she becomes friends with all these guys. And then by the end of it, when she stands up to her father, she has that coolness again, but it's not a facade anymore.
Great.
So you see that
So
character
we're talking
development.
about
so with one character,
characters
and there's
that
like
are
7
afraid
of them.
of very small things. For her, hers is
Small
actually big
things.
But her thing
Small things.
has
Her
been dealt
father
with.
is molesting
I just said
her.
hers was a big thing, but it was dealt with entirely by other movies.
Oh, but the homeschool kid whose parents died in a fire trying to save him, that's just a small thing to
We're
you?
watching a movie then about
Jesus
an orphan.
Christ,
How
dude.
many movies about orphans have you seen?
How many
movies about orphans on a farm have you seen?
He witnessed his parents
How many
being
movies
burned to
about
death while they're
molesting
trying to
parents
save
have
him.
you seen?
But in
How many
Ethan's-
movies
in
about
Ethan's head,
hypochondriac
that's just
stuck
a
at home? It's
small
called Bubble
thing.
Boy. That was made
Just
like
a
20 years
small
ago.
thing. Oh, and that's the thing. It's like fear comes in all levels, dude.
No,
Fear
it's fine,
comes in
and
all
that's why
flavors.
it's been around for 30 years in other movies, and we've already
What other
encountered
movies?
this.
You mean
So
like
what
It
this movie
from
is?
27 years
what
ago?
this movie
It?
is just
So
a jump scare
It's not a
CG
jump scare
fest.
because everything pays off.
Nothing pays. Nothing
Name one jump
matters
scare.
in this movie.
Name one jump scare.
Okay, how about when he jumps up from behind the casket to get the kid from Stranger Things, or how about when he's all of a
Everybody
sudden
saw that coming.
right there at the door?
Everybody saw that coming. It
The
wasn't
point
a jump
of a jump scare is you do see see it coming. That's why they have to add 18 violins to make you jump, because you're just audibly frightened, not because the movie is scary.
But they're not cheap scares. That's
They're
the thing.
all cheap
they're
scares.
All built up to it.
You don't get to say, this clown embodies
all.
all fear, therefore you're already feeling the tension and you're already supposed to be scared. So when the jump scare happens, you're like, oh, that's what the movie's going for. No, it's actually just, this is a cheap cliche, and because they wrote it into the movie, doesn't make it less of a cheap cliche.
A cheap jump scare is when you open a door and you go, huh, and the music swells, and there's
you
nothing,
mean like
and there's
when
nothing
Bev
there.
turns around in the bathroom and all of a sudden, boom, there's a fucking thing right there?
Yeah, but there's something there, which means it pays off. That's what I'm saying.
How about when they're walking through the literal haunted house, going room to room, saying, oh no, there's a girl that's got half a body. Oh no, there's me dead in a casket. Oh no, there's a room full of clowns.
So there's actually shit there that they're reacting to. It's not just, oh, there's an empty closet.
I have
That's
walked
a cheap
through
jump
that
scare.
house every Halloween.
I do not understand.
And that's your time, guys. Before we talk about how you actually feel, a close friend of the show, Kelsey, asked, how do you guys feel about the director, like, splitting this into two movies, like a chapter 1, chapter 2, all kids, all adults?
We're doing that in character.
I don't know. We've never had this happen before. We'll do it in character.
Out of character. Out of character.
Okay, fair enough.
This was a sincere question.
I really love this movie, and I'm all for it because I want them to develop all of the characters as much as they can. I love that this movie's 2.5 hours and it's only half of the book, and because it is that the characters make this movie. It's Stand By Me with a Demon. If this was just jump scares, it'd be really fucking stupid. But instead, this movie, everything you said is correct. I have no argument. Like, all you can say is like, oh, this wasn't a spooky gore fest that I wanted it to be. All of a sudden, oh no, this movie actually means something. God damn it.
You didn't have anything, so you kept doubling down on get the gangbang in there.
I started with the gangbang. I led through one question, and then I moved on. I said my piece.
Yeah, no, and I think as far as
smart decision.
As far as splitting the movie, I haven't read the book, so I don't know what the overall like narrative themes are in the book. But as far as the movies, like this has a very specific theme that is very specific to childhood and growing into early adulthood. So if they're able to find a very specific theme to match the adult side of the movie or the second movie, I'm all for that. But they could easily just fuck it up and just they could essentially
like
make
the TV
sleepers.
Movie did.
Or sleepers.
I never saw Sleeper.
Oh, the first half is with the kids and it's incredible, and then as soon as they're adults, it's just dog shit.
Yeah, this whole movie, the kid movie, is all just a metaphor for growing up. It's all of them confronting the demons that have been holding them back as kids and moving beyond that. You know, it's them going through puberty. You can look at everything as a metaphor for them growing up, and that works perfectly for this movie. I don't know how that'll work for them as adults, but if they fail it horribly as adults, then I'm really glad that they have this movie standing alone.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, don't like double down on like they're still growing. Just like no, find like a midlife crisis that's interesting for everybody. Like, take it at a different angle, but throw Pennywise in there, and then it's gonna be a cohesive set of movies, basically.
Yeah, I don't remember the made-for-TV movie enough to know like really what happens.
I've only seen it once all the way through.
I just remember the end, and it was bad.
Yeah, I watched it recently, and it's not great.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's made for TV, so it's like neutered beyond belief. It's neutered further than the Dark Tower.
I love about this movie. Like on a PG-13 horror movie or a made-for-TV movie, like they're not going to talk extensively about a character who's getting molested by her dad. Love that. And the first scene in this movie, like, I don't love that aspect. Don't make that face. I love that they have adult things in this movie. That it's you know, it's stuff that happens in real life. It's stuff that we can all empathize with. There are real orphans. There are people that are, you know, parents make them hypochondriacs. There's, you know, people who are
kids who are bullied because of purely their weight.
Where like, and that is just as scary to him as the clown. Like, kids can fear for their lives and do fear for their lives from bullies, from growing up, and that having that all of that stuff as scary as the clown in this movie is what makes this movie work beyond just a dumb horror movie. It's not everybody being scared of this, you know, disembodied demon that may or may not be real. It's no, there's a bunch of real shit in their life that's just as terrifying, and them killing the clown is just them overcoming that stuff. It's just a symbol for it.
I did not enjoy the first 25 minutes of this movie.
Because they ripped a kid's arm off?
they did it like Georgie.
Brutal.
I'm still like, I actually just tweeted this, like, I miss Georgie. Like, I know that sounds stupid, but like, I'll just think about like, I wish.
Because we have little kids.
I wish Georgie. That's a big part of it. So, like, I wish Georgie was still around. So it was like The Witch again. Like, it took me 25 minutes to get over the death of Georgie.
It's fair.
If Georgie was still around, you could essentially just have no movie at that point.
No, I know.
Goes
That's
back
fine.
home and
That's fine. Give me One Perfect Day with George Clooney and what's her face.
Oh, also, really quick, I loved the CG in this movie. I didn't want to shit on it that much. I've just heard other people shit on it, but I liked it because it felt jarring to me. Like, the kids would feel like it's jarring. Is this clown real? Is this made up? And there are moments where it's like, this is completely unbelievable, but it's still happening, and you feel like the kids kind of feel a little bit taken out of it and still invested.
I wish we had more Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, because I thought he nailed it. I thought he did a really great job, and my favorite part of him is his lazy eyes. Just incredible. But yeah, I thought he did a really great job, and I wanted more of him, which is how you want to feel with like the iconic character. Because it's the same thing with Heath Ledger and the Joker. Like, you wanted more of him, but like if you oversaturate that character within the movie, it's going to ruin it and be annoying. So like, I think they hit the perfect balance on Pennywise in this.
Okay, so clearly you guys loved it. So what would you actually rate the movie? No, I mean, I think that question was a perfect segue into hearing how you actually felt. Sorry if that sounded dickish.
Sorry, Kelsey. Jeff's new here.
Yep.
I would give this movie an 8 out of 10 with, a lot of thunder. I've been thinking about this movie a lot.
I'll give it an 8 out of 10 with a lot of thunder. I like the themes in it, though I don't think they're anything new, but it's still relevant.
Despite it being a Jacob's Ladder scenario, it's 8
Did
out
I
of 10.
tell you?
The cinematographer, by the way, is the guy that does all the Chan-wook Park movies. Did you guys notice that?
Oh, I did not notice that.
Isn't that awesome? Everything
perfect.
but Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. He's done all of them.
That makes sense.
That's why this movie looks so goddamn beautiful.
Well, did I tell you that? So, I mean, in the movie too, but in the book, it's 27 years is whenever Pennywise comes back.
Yeah.
And the last movie came out in 1990. Ooh, everybody knows about that.
They're super clever.
But in case anybody didn't know.
All right, well, where can we find you guys?
Twitter.
Facebook.
Instagram.
Gmail.
emd.pantspending.com.
Pants Pending, thank you.
Big thank you to Pants Pending.
Thanks, Pants Pending.
Do we do it? We good?
I think we nailed it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one, guys.